What would happen if every dollar, every bank account,
Instruments. A male narrator speaks clearly throughout the audio. Long before coins, banks, and digital payments, people survived through direct exchange. If you needed something, you had to find someone willing to trade for it. This system worked well at first, but a major problem was already beginning to appear.
How many animal skins were equal to a hunting spear? Nobody knew for certain.
Trade was slow, difficult, and often impossible if the other person wanted something different.
Civilization needed a better solution, but nobody yet knew what it would be.
As trade expanded, the search for something universally valuable became more important than ever. Then certain rare objects began attracting attention for a surprising reason.
These items were scarce, durable, and desired by many different communities.
For the first time, some objects were becoming valuable simply because people believed they were valuable. That idea may sound simple, but it would eventually change the entire world. Humanity was slowly inventing something that looked very much like money.
A universal store of value was beginning to emerge across the ancient world.
For thousands of years, this simple idea would fuel trade, cooperation, and civilization itself. Yet an even bigger breakthrough was coming, one that would transform wealth forever.
The foundations of the global economy were already being laid thousands of years before the first coin existed.
Humanity had taken its first step toward money, but the invention that came next would reshape history forever. Trade was becoming faster and more efficient, but a new challenge was beginning to emerge. The more wealth people accumulated, the harder it became to transport and protect it. Wealth was growing, but nobody had yet invented a perfect form of money. Different regions valued different items, creating confusion across long-distance trade. Then, humanity discovered materials unlike anything it had used before. Metals were durable, portable, and difficult to destroy, making them ideal for storing value. For the first time, wealth could travel long distances without losing its usefulness. Across the ancient world, metals slowly began replacing shells and stones. Three metals would eventually dominate human wealth for thousands of years. Among them, one metal stood above all others: gold. Gold was beautiful, rare, and nearly impossible to destroy, and qualities that made it incredibly valuable. Wealth was no longer just about survival. It was becoming a symbol of power. Entire trade networks began forming around the movement of precious metals. The wealth of kingdoms could now be measured and protected. Yet every transaction still required weighing and verifying the metal by hand. Trade was growing faster than the system could handle. Humanity needed a new breakthrough, one that would change money forever. The solution would come from governments seeking greater control and trust. For the first time, value was about to receive an official guarantee. Humanity had learned how to store wealth. The next step was learning how to mint money.
Around 4,000 years ago, rulers began creating standardized pieces of metal that everyone could trust.
Trade suddenly became faster because people no longer needed to weigh every transaction by hand. Trust had become one of the most valuable inventions in human history. For the first time, wealth could move efficiently across enormous distances.
Cities began growing larger because trade became easier than ever before.
Money was no longer just helping trade. It was helping build civilizations. Then came one of the greatest financial breakthroughs ever created: the coin.
Coins guaranteed weight, purity, and value, making trade faster than anyone thought possible.
Wealth was becoming more mobile and more powerful than ever before.
Humanity had finally created real money. But an even bigger financial revolution was still waiting in the future.
By the beginning of the first millennium, money had become the foundation of global trade.
Great empires depended on money to feed armies, build cities, and control vast territories.
The larger civilizations became, the more important money became.
Trade routes connected civilizations that had never even met one another.
Money was becoming the universal language of commerce.
Even when people spoke different languages, money allowed them to trade. But carrying large amounts of wealth created a dangerous problem. The richer a trader became, the harder it was to protect that wealth.
Then a revolutionary idea appeared. What if wealth could stay in one place while ownership moved?
For the first time, paper began representing real wealth. Humanity was slowly inventing banking. Trust was once again transforming the world economy. Then another breakthrough arrived: paper money. Suddenly, enormous wealth could fit inside a pocket. The speed of commerce increased dramatically. Wealth was becoming more mobile than ever before. Entire economies now depended on systems of trust and finance. Money was no longer just metal or paper. It was becoming information. Those who controlled finance increasingly shaped the future of nations. Humanity had transformed money from simple trade into a global financial system. But the biggest economic explosion in history was still ahead.
Around the year 1500, the world economy began accelerating faster than ever before.
Global trade was connecting distant civilizations into one enormous marketplace. Then people discovered a new way to grow wealth: investing. Wealth no longer needed to come only from trade. It could come from ownership.
The stock market was born, changing the future of money forever.
For the first time, money itself could create more money.
Then industry transformed the economy on a scale humanity had never witnessed before.
Productivity exploded, and wealth began growing faster than ever.
Governments increasingly took control of money itself. By 1900, money had become a truly global system.
Wealth was moving faster than at any previous point in history. But the world soon learned a painful lesson. Financial systems could also fail.
Yet each crisis pushed humanity to build stronger financial systems.
Then money became something even more powerful: credit.
For the first time, millions could spend money they did not physically carry.
A digital revolution was quietly beginning behind the scenes. Money was transforming from paper and metal into information. Suddenly, wealth could move across the world in seconds. Money was no longer something people carried. It was something they accessed. Humanity had transformed money more in the last 100 years than in the previous 10,000. But the most surprising chapter was still ahead. Then came an idea that challenged thousands of years of financial history. What if money no longer needed governments or banks at all? For the first time in history, a completely digital form of value was competing with traditional money.
Money was becoming faster, smarter, and more accessible than ever before.
A new force was entering the financial system: artificial intelligence. Machines were beginning to help manage trillions of dollars moving through the world economy. Around the world, societies were moving steadily toward a future with less cash and more digital value. From animal skins and seashells to smartphones and algorithms, the journey of money has been one of humanity's greatest inventions. Every purchase, every investment, and every transaction is part of a system built over thousands of years. Money itself has no power. Its value comes from a shared belief that it works. And that belief changed the world. Insurance and more immense. For 12,000 years, humanity searched for better ways to exchange value. From simple trade to a global